I've been chasing all these dreams, I'm getting very close. Your work shouldn't feel like work if you really love it. If you set and you know your worth, then think if it's worth it. But I do count my blessings first, so you know I'm grateful every night. But watch me, baby, I'ma take it there. Tell ya I'ma stay the path. Tell ya I've been chasing all these dreams, I'm getting very close. Here we go. Your work shouldn't feel like work if you really love it. If you set and you know your worth, then think if it's worth it. But I do count my blessings first, so you know I'm grateful every night.
Welcome to the Mind Growth Mission Podcast. This is your host, once again, David Schweit, coming at you with a solo episode. No guest involved. You guys are going to love it, though. Did things a little bit differently this time. Have some notes here, some things I might cover verbatim and spin off. But it's about the makeup of who we are. Think about it. What makes us who we are our thoughts, feelings, influences, choices, actions, habits, behaviors, beliefs, the patterns that we've learned through experience and things that happen over and over again. And then it changes the trajectory of who we're becoming, who we are. And that's why being intentional is so important. But think about it. We have behaviors that are uniquely designed by our actions and emotions. Those emotions sometimes move us so strongly to react. And I have definitely been involved with some terrible reactions and some that are just jumping the gun a bit. And maybe I should have thought them through a little bit better. Maybe I should have just held off and thought about the perspective and the changes that are happening, the emotions I'm actually feeling. Take a second to feel it. But the more strongly we feel about something, the more it consumes our thoughts, the more we want to act out on it, the more we want to actually go towards the thing that's driving us to feel this way. You either cut it out or cut it off, or you dive in more and you want it more. Right? So sometimes you get stuck in these patterns, but our thoughts around whatever that is, it begins to morph us into who we are. So we slowly start to make these choices that add up and compile over time. And then next thing you know, you are who you are in the spot right now. But that can all be changed. And I truly believe that. I've seen that through friends, through experts, through CEOs, through speakers, through athletes, through people that have went to jail, through people that have done harmful things in their life, people that want to redeem themselves, right? People that know they made a mistake, they've owned it, they've decided to change their life, whether get closer to faith or get closer with family or get closer to who they are personally and what their true beliefs are. But in a recent podcast I was listening to, shout out Sean Croxton. He's got an awesome quote of the day podcast where he features some of the best influencers and speakers all over. But one that he had with Les Brown, who's probably one of my favorite speakers of all time. Les Brown mentioned in one of his speeches, 87% of our thoughts are negative because we live in a negative environment. Think about that, y'all. 87%? That stat just blew my mind. But when we think about it, when we fail, when we do something wrong, when we do something and it's not our best, or we do something and we are going at it more lackadaisical than we should, we are thinking negative, and the negative things that we're looking upon it and looking down on it as tend to pile up. It's not one way we're looking at it. We're looking at it probably from multiple perspectives. We look at social media and the news and all the negative things around us, or somebody that's, self-made millionaire overnight. And once you do your research and get to the discovery aspect of things, you realize that it's never an overnight story. Everybody had to start somewhere. Everybody has a story that got them to where they are. But the humble beginnings is usually what it is. And why I say that is because most of the people that are super successful talk about their failures, talk about how they created wins out of those failures, how they learned from them, how it helped them morph into who they are and who they're becoming, and what they're involved with, what they're passionate about, what drives them daily, how they wake up in the morning, the stuff they eat, the stuff they intake, where their energy's coming from. Like sometimes it's from the negative stuff that happened, that pain, that stuff that's hurtful, that leads them into a position to take back control of their lives and actually change it. And not only that, when I thought about that, 87% of our thoughts are negative. That's a ton, because then the next thing Les Brown said in his speech was, according to many psychologists, we think 40 to 50,000 thoughts a day. Ah, man, just think if you had some control over those thoughts and you truly transformed it into a positive or spun it into a different perspective altogether, that would shift your whole lifestyle, your whole mindset. You begin to develop something totally unique to who you are, what you're about. If you feel like you're failing and going backwards, well, think about like, hey, what am I learning from this? How am I going to spin this into something positive? What is the next step I can do? What are some of these things that I'm doing that I can cut out? What questions that lead you to taking action with stuff you truly believe in and want for yourself? And you really have to get introspective on how you look at these things, right? But we have to begin to develop a different kind of mindset for our future. And like I said, those people that are millionaires and they seem to get quick money and all that. Well, think about it. It all started with a vision. It all started with a thought. It all started usually with their mindset and what they believed and how they believed in themselves to get them to where they are. They took action. Of course, they failed along the way. Of course, they failed before they even began their journey with where they're at now. They failed, right? Like, we all make mistakes. We all have our battles. We all have our struggles, right? So change is inevitable, right? Whether that's around us or what we do for ourselves, it's inevitable. It's always happening. Everything around us is evolving. You think about how we are on a social media spectrum. Growing up, you had the flip phones. You have phones that didn't even have color, things like that. And now, like, everything's access to your phone. You have a digital print everywhere you go. So one of the best things they say, if you're trying to build your brand, is to get out there through social media. Use the phone as a resource. Now, the negative impact that has is then you catch yourself scrolling, wasting time, putting time and energy into stuff that's controversial or that doesn't go towards your dreams, your goals, your aspirations. And that's where we get caught. We get caught right there in that spot of scrolling. We take too much time involved in the negative, involved in those things that are controversial, thinking about those things that like aren't going to even change or impact your life, but you have feelings about it. Where do those feelings come from? People around you, how you grew up, things that happened to you in your past. Well, the past is the past. You definitely can't change it, but you can change what you're doing now. You can change the things that you're focused on. You can change those patterns, those behaviors, those beliefs. And sometimes you just have to say, I got to start today. I don't feel like it. I don't feel comfortable. This is out of my comfort zone. But you have to say and tell yourself, hey, I can do this. I'm going to fail at some point, but it's okay because I'm going to learn from that failure. I know I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to get after it because it's who I am. It's what I want to do. I see myself in a totally different place in the future. So why keep myself from that any longer? Let me just take a couple steps. Let me move myself towards that goal, towards that dream, instead of just sitting, waiting, wishing, and then nothing happens. And then we get caught up in that negative spiral of thought of, man, I wish I did this. What if? What if I did that? What if I didn't fail? What if I didn't ask that person out? What if I didn't spend 1 year with that person? What if I changed jobs after 2 years instead of 7 years? What if I invested that money? What good is that doing? It's not doing any good for you. So the moral of the story is we just have to change our thoughts today. We have to change how we feel about things moving forward. We have to have goals. We have to have dreams. We have to have things written out. We have to have things that we believe that we can be a part of and that we can make an impact with. Because I truly believe that everybody, all of you, have something that is unique and that you can offer the world. And that's why I'm doing this. I just want everybody to find something within them that drives them to do more, be a better person, be nicer to that person. And, if you fail, you fail. If you make a mistake here and there, it's okay. It's all right. You're still going to have people that love you. You still got the opportunity to love yourself. You still have the ability to overcome anything that happens in your life. And I truly believe that. And we are destined for greatness. We can truly help change lives. And you don't realize how much you are directly correlated with people in your life. And you may not even know it or know them, but they see you. They see how you interact. They see how you are with others. They see the good in you. Sometimes you take that good in you for granted. And I just want to say it's right there. It's right there. You have it within you and you can do something with it. And that's why I do this podcast. Once again, I want to change people's lives through life coaching, digital products that I'll be creating courses with and making sure every one of you are aware of it. And then hopefully speaking eventually, get in front of a large audience, help to change, myself and just be more responsible, be more of an adult, be more of an influencer, be more of a motivator, be more of a leader, be someone that people can aspire to be. But I first have to change myself. I have to get there. I have to take the steps necessary to say, hey, I can do this. Because I already know I am capable. Am I there yet? No, but I will be. I am taking steps towards it now, and I want you each to have that within you to drive you, to keep you focused, to keep you going forward. If it's going to take a month, a year, 2 years to change, just if you know it's what's best for you, do it. And it's okay because we're rooting for you. More people are rooting for you than not. You're always going to have the haters and the naysayers and the people questioning you, but honestly, you can use that to drive you. Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of those guys that uses that to drive him, drive his performance, drive his character, drive him to be one of the most successful people of all time, coming from one country to another, not knowing the language and being able to adapt. And not only that, to motivate and to lead and to be an idol, a figure, somebody people look up to, and to accomplish so much just because of that inner belief he had for himself. And you can't tell me he didn't have any negative thoughts, because he definitely did. And did he do negative things in his life? Yeah, he had a kid with this dang nanny while he was married. One of the greatest mistakes you can make personally, is that infidelity. And he admits it, he owns it, and now he's close with his son. But what I'm saying is that we're all going to fail. The seriousness of it, I don't know, but it happens. It's going to happen to the best of us, but we have to dream. We have to aspire to be more. We have to aspire to change. And think about it. With things you care about, do you do enough to show it what it deserves? Okay, let me say that again. With the things that you truly care about, think about what you truly care about in life. Do you show it enough attention? Do you give it what it deserves? The energy, the thoughts, the time? And ask yourself this as well. Do your relationships benefit from your actions? Do your relationships benefit from your actions? Are you maybe waiting for something else before your actions take place? Are you waiting for something to move the needle before you do that action to help your relationships? Are you being proactive in those relationships? Are you reaching out? Are you doing things? Are you asking them if they need help? Are you asking how people are doing? Are you making sure they're okay? Are you reading into it a little bit and just being a light in their life? Are you thinking highly of them and knowing that they're great and telling them that, you want the best for them and, you should be happy for them and all that? So are you letting them know that you're there? Are your relationships benefiting from who you are and who you're becoming? Or do you see them going by the wayside? We all have distractions. We all have our life, but channel that energy into things that you respect, things that you enjoy, and people that you want to be around. Because you have to start somewhere with where you see yourself. Oftentimes it's those relationships around you, and more importantly, the relationship you have with yourself. Am I where I want to be? Have I made the changes necessary to do that? Most of us say, no, definitely not, and it'll take too long to get it right, steer the ship right. And no, it just won't. Because that one step that you make today, you'll look back 30 days from now. And then there's 10 more steps you made just because of that one step you started with. You look back 60 days from now, and due to those 10 steps you made within the 30 days, it's now multiplied into 100 steps you've made to change. So in 2 to 3 months, you can change completely. And then will it be tough to stay with it? Be consistent with it? Of course. Of course. And that's the scary part. That's the scary part. We're quick to think too far ahead in the future, but it does have to start somewhere, and it does have to begin with just one step that leads to the next thing. And where do you see yourself? Where is that vision, right? Where do you see yourself in your relationships? Where do you see yourself in the relationship with yourself? Where do you see yourself making an impact and giving back to others? Also, does your passion for the things you care about drive the actions necessary, right? So say you have a passion for sports. Are you just watching it? Are you involved? Are you playing it? Are you having discussions? Are you creating a podcast? Like, how much do you have a passion for it? How much do you have a love for it? Is it something that should occupy your time? Is it going to create the right actions and behaviors to get you to that version or that vision of yourself that you see? That's on you to ask. Like, what is that doing for you? Does your job have something that would benefit from doing anything sports related? Your personal life, your career, etc. Like, what are the benefits? Will it help your relationships with friends to be involved with sports somehow? For instance, my friends and I have a fantasy football league. So that's an easy way for us to make sure we get together at least once a year just for that. It's usually more, but at least we're in a group chat and keeping up with each other. So we are staying involved that way. So it is worth spending that time that we're doing towards that, because it's helping our relationships. It's fun. We get a chance to talk junk and just be funny with each other as well, but and interact. But just think about it. That's just a silly example. More of the examples are probably related to career involvement, volunteer work, faith, things you're passionate about, your personal relationships, your significant other relationships, your family relationships, things like that I would emphasize more. But I just wanted to give you an example of things that can occupy your time. Like, are you reading? Do you have a passion for reading? Do you have a passion for TV and movies? Do you want to be an actor, take acting classes, do a speech, what have you? Like, are you getting involved with the things that you see yourself one day doing? Like, I don't think it's ever too late to aspire to be that. When you look at like Harrison Ford, Samuel L. Jackson, Oprah Winfrey, all these people who started their careers a bit later or got successful and super famous later in their career, like, they weren't overnight successes. I'm sure they had goals and ambitions to be great at the thing they were doing at the time for 20, 30, 40 years, but then they totally flipped the script on it and realized, like, hey, I got something else that I'm meant for, and let me try this thing out. It's never too late to fail, to learn, to grow, to be something different and be a better version of yourself. And I believe that. So are you taking the steps to move it forward? That is my question to you. But also, when we talk about the negative stuff, the negative feelings, the negative thoughts that come in, they're too easy, right? It always happens. Every freaking day you're going to have something like, oh, dang, got to get up for work today. Oh, my body hurts, which I am sore right now. But, I love it because I know it's from like working out. I might have not slept great, but it's okay because I can get through the day high energy with belief, with my thoughts. And honestly, visualizations are important, but also just speaking things out loud and just saying it to yourself, right? Those positive affirmations to me are really important to help me get over some negative stuff. All right. And when something negative or positive happens related to something you're involved with, whether you have control over it or not, it's good to take time to sit in the emotion you feel from that experience, like what happened, right? If your partner is mad at you, we've all been there, but if your partner is mad at you and you're quick to be defensive, maybe how they said it and how you felt and what they really meant isn't all aligned. So sometimes it's good to sit in that emotion so you're critiquing things, that constructive criticism for yourself. Hey, what can I learn from this? Is it maybe being better at communication and asking more questions? Is it me needing to be more proactive in these areas to satisfy my partner? Is this something that they need emotionally, mentally, physically? Like, what is, have I narrowed it down? Is what they're saying actually the stem or the root of it? Or is this something much further down the road that's happened that's leading to this point? You know, sometimes it's good to sit in that emotion to really feel it, because you need to know what that emotion means, what it's bringing out of you, why is it there, what is it stemming from? And maybe just the communication with your partner needs to become more healthy. Maybe you need to get better at asking them to sit down with you, asking nicely and softly and being like, hey, can I take time here with you to cover this? Because it's important to me that you feel okay with it, that we can move forward from it, that we can learn from it together and be involved together, you know, with this thing that's happened. It's okay, right? So sometimes it just takes that to get on the same page. But there's also times where you screw things up. You get fired from your job. And usually that ends up being a blessing for a lot of people. An extra kick of the butt, in the butt for motivation, you know, because sometimes when things negative happen and you're feeling down and out, it's so you can do that other thing you've been putting off and been wanting to do. And for me, when I resigned from my last job and did some traveling for myself, that really helped me change my perspective of my life, how important money is, things in my life are, the relationships in my life are, who I am, what I've been about in the past, what I'm going to be about in the future. It helped me take time to reflect and really think about things. Like, you know, I didn't have any resentment towards the job or towards resigning or getting out of it. I didn't. It was just, I need to really figure out what is good for me, what is healthy for me, what changes I need to make for myself. So sometimes we don't sit there in those emotions to really figure out, like, why did I do this thing? Why am I having this experience? And what am I learning from it? And now where do I move towards now? Like, what steps do I need to take moving forward to get to that thing that I aspire to be, right? So feel it, you know, be thankful for the experience. Think about what you learned from it and be thankful for those takeaways. Sit in the failure of it, and that's key. So anytime you have a failure and you feel like knocked down a peg or two or all the way down to the bottom of the rung, like, okay, first breathe. And secondly, take time, maybe write it out. Write out some of those feelings, some of those emotions, some of the thoughts you're having. Write out some of the experience. Make sure you put the names, the places, the feelings, the things that really stick with you from it. Because you want to sit in that failure, sit in that emotion, sit on what it's doing for you, what positive things are going to happen from this. What is this going to move me towards? What is this actually bringing into my life? Now that one thing might be taken away or one thing I might not be good at, now how do I learn from that? How do I get better at that thing? Or how do I add something else in place of it? How do I do that? Take a second to know and understand the next step and the approach you need to take moving forward. Sit in those feels. Sit in those feels, y'all. Sometimes it's so important. As a salesperson and sales manager, you have to learn to be agile, be fast-paced, learn to move forward, be resilient, you know, because you're going to get a lot of negative. You're going to hear a lot of no's. You're going to have the cyclical stuff, the ups and downs with the numbers and the metrics and the performance indicators, the key metrics and everything, right? You're going to have those ups and downs. So you really have to sit in the fields to understand it sometimes. You really have to know, like, okay, so I'm learning from each of these things, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad. You know, what is that middle ground happiness I'm seeking? Like, how do I not get too high? How do I not get too low? Why is my emotion like tilted more one way than the other right now? Is this something I'll be able to get over quickly? Is this something that I can learn from quickly? Is it something that'll move me more forward more quickly? Or is it something that'll stop me dead in my tracks and I'm not allowing it to? Or is this something that might set me back a few months on something that's important to me to improve upon? You know, just evaluate that and become clear. Understand that, like, if it is something that's going to take time to improve upon, that at least you've accepted your fate with that. And now you know the next steps to move forward because you accepted where you're at with it. You know it's going to take time. It's okay. How do I balance it out now? How do I squeeze it into my schedule? How do I fit it in? Where can I put this in my life to make sure it's fixed, to make sure I recover from it and be even better for it, for that experience, from it all, right? Be able to forgive and move forward. You got to forgive others when negative things happen to you. I mean, look at people's faith, how they talk about sin and forgiveness. Like, we all make mistakes, right? But think about it. The biggest thing is forgiving yourself for not being there for yourself when you needed to be, to knock yourself down sometimes. Just, you got to forgive yourself for, like, being there at times. We're all going to get down. We're all going to get down and out. We're all going to feel bad at some point. We're all going to have negative stuff happen at some point. We have to learn to forgive ourselves and move on. We have to accept our fate with it. We have to accept the experience happen. We have to understand, hey, what are we learning from it? How do we get through it? How do we use this to help us in the future self, right? What is this going to do for my next best version of myself that I'm becoming? What am I learning here? What is this trying to tell me? You know, I truly believe things don't happen to you, they happen for you. You have to understand it, and it's so hard to think that, especially with certain things in life, and I won't go into too much detail there. You can listen to Ed Milet if you want to hear more about the things happen for you, not to you type spiel. But, you know, if you start to change your perspective, your mentality on that, your mindset on that, I believe that you start to see that, like, all those negative days, all the trying times, all those things that you've been working through, like, they're helping you become something different. They're helping you to figure things out. They're helping you to help you mold yourself into what you're becoming. What, you know, it's how you interpret it, you know, and sometimes you have to sit in that emotion at that time to realize where it's taking you. Because what can happen is you let it pile on, get the weight on your shoulders, more and more weight on your shoulders, and then you don't reach out for help and you get blinded by things, and then you're going down a negative spiral and all these negative thoughts, and then you don't catch yourself. And when you don't catch yourself, that's when it's going to feel either empty inside, you're going to feel lost, you're going to feel more hurt, or everything's going to come out at once and it's going to be a tailspin and you go downhill quick. So sometimes, like, when you feel things piling up on you and compounding, let's think about how this is compounding things towards my future success, compounding my actions, my behaviors, my thoughts towards a more positive momentum building aspect of my life. What is this going to do for me? And come to an understanding with it. So accept it, forgive it, think about it, sit in it, come to an understanding with it, evaluate, and then take necessary courses of action. Because what happens is we oftentimes get to the point where we realize, okay, here's where I'm at. I know what I need to do. But then we get stuck back in the same habits, the same trajectory that we already were in, instead of improving and building and using building blocks to help us get elevated, get higher, excel. We actually use that energy in a way that doesn't take us towards the course of action we need to. And that's where I think it's really important to evaluate, hey, am I making a change today that leads to the building blocks of my future endeavors, my future success, my future self, my future vision? Like, am I working on the building blocks daily? What are they? Am I tallying that up? Am I understanding it? Am I evaluating it? Or am I just going to be, okay, this is where I am. I'm just going to sit here now and be it. And trust me, over the last year, that's happened to me quite a bit, where I do feel stuck. I'm not taking action. I become freaking lazy at times. And that's just not the way to live. There's no fulfillment out of it. It's not helping anybody. Definitely not helping yourself. So why do it, right? There's always a chance to build momentum, to learn, to grow, to develop in some way, some form or fashion. One thing I've really stuck with over the past couple of years is reading. I'm starting to read more and more, knocking out an awesome book a month, usually personal development. Right now I'm reading Good to Great, which is more of a business related book, but just to get more of an understanding of myself, of business, of how to talk to people, how to deal with people, how to work in a different environment, how to get just placed anywhere and be okay and be able to learn and be agile, right? Like, reading does a lot for me now, but it didn't before because I didn't do it and I wasn't consistent with this. And now I'm using that to propel me forward. I'm learning and growing in that way. Now, for me personally, I might have taken a couple steps back and other things in my life that I didn't prioritize right. So that's where I reevaluated. That's why I'm going freaking harder than ever now. And it's just a new fuel within me, more desire, burning desire that's within me to push forward and do even more. So I want you all to be on the same page there. Just know that you have something within you. It's right there. Evaluate, knock it out, move forward. And sometimes we do get too high or too low on things. And it's great to celebrate the wins, celebrate the success. It sucks when you lose and you feel that. But each day is a new day. Each task is a new task. Each thing is a new thing. Each journey is a new journey. You just got to understand, like, you can move on from something so quick. And the celebration doesn't last long. There's always somebody to critique or evaluate you when it comes to your career, or maybe even in your personal life with your spouse or with relationships you're involved with. But think about it. There's always stuff that you can learn from each experience. And, you can get too high or too low on events, games, failures, fired from a job, promotion, a big sale, getting injured, or trying to recover through that. But think about it. We need to take control of that situation where it's like, all right, I'm going to be in gratitude for this. This is happening for me. I'm learning from it. And it's a nice, refreshing thing to know that I've accepted it. It's good. I'm living in this now. And for those highs where you're celebrating and rewarding yourself, great. Be very thankful for that. And then for the lows, if you can find ways to have the same attitude that you have for the highs, that, hey, I'm so thankful this happened to me because now I can learn from it and grow through it and grow from it. And then we need to think about how we can take control back and find the middle ground happiness within the emotions, the circumstances, the event taking place. We can learn from it. We can sit there and realize, like, hey, I made the decisions leading up to this point to get me here. I'm here. I have to deal with it. I have to accept it. I have to move forward and past it eventually. So let me use it. Let me use it to help myself. And that's what we need to do. We need to make sure that we're using these things to really truly help ourselves move forward. So any event that's taken place in your life, any circumstance that happened that you had no control over, any emotion you're feeling right now, what are you learning from it? How are you growing from it? What is it doing for you? What is it doing for you to be thinking and dwelling in the negative emotion of it? Are you learning from that negative feeling like, hey, I know I don't want to get there again, so let me do X, Y, and Z to improve that? Or is it, hey, am I going to fall into the same pattern because I'm not going to take any action or any necessary steps to change it so it doesn't happen in the future? Like, am I just going to be complacent to just fall in the same trap where the pattern keeps happening over and over again? Or am I going to do something about it and today write out a plan or make up a plan or start to think the thoughts that drive me towards an action that lead to the behavior, that lead to the belief in myself and into what I'm doing and what I'm here for, and that passion and purpose we all have within us. Like, are we doing that from each experience, in each circumstance, each event that's taking place in our lives? Or are we just going with the motions? Most of us, even I can say, we usually just go with the motions, and with the motions comes the emotions, the ups and downs, the highs and the lows. So sometimes we got to take control back, realize that there's actions we can take, there's thoughts we can provide ourselves with, there's stuff that we can fuel ourselves with, there's energy that we can bring in through us and outward to get it out there, to let it be part of us, part of our body, part of how we interact with others, part of what we're doing in life, part of that journey we're on. And that's where I wanted to fuel you forward to the next thing, the next big thing in your life. There's always going to be big moments, big happenings, big things that come and go. But guess what? You have control of a lot of that, more control than you think. You've made all these choices in your past and in your life. Why not make more new choices to replace some of those bad choices you have right now in your life and replace them with the good ones that can help you get to the next steps of where you want to be, things you want to do, things you want to accomplish, things you want to see, things you want to add, skills you want to get. Think about it. There's so many things that can be replaced and we're not even using that energy towards it. We're just going with the motions, living the emotions of the ups and downs. We'll take that control back. I want that for you. You can do that for yourself. And I truly believe that. And I truly believe we are all destined to find our reason, to find our purpose, to have that affect others, to have that positively influence others, to have that rub off on others. And one thing I always hear when reading these personal development books or sales books or marketing books or whatever, or speakers, what they say is, am I thinking about me right now? Or am I thinking about my audience? Am I thinking about who I'm helping? Or am I thinking about me right now? Because when you're not as selfless and you're more selfish, you realize you're carrying more of that weight on yourself. When you're out there to help and to give a helping hand, give open feedback, give a unique perspective, to give out something, when you're there to give, when you're there to help, and it's for others, the world changes. The world changes because of that action you did. Think about it. People with kids, immediately, they realize it's not just about them anymore. It's about the kid. That comes first. How does their life change? For most people that I know, if not everybody, they say it's the best thing in the world. Now, it's not easy. Not easy raising a kid, they all say. They can all agree. But they say it's the most beautiful thing. And then that selfless behavior, starts to change them. Starts to make them a better version of themselves. Because what do? They put someone else before them. And that's truly what can drive you to figure out or seek that passion or purpose or that thing you're meant for. And if you want money, that's great. But who are you helping to get that money? What are your reasons? What are your beliefs? What are your skills? What are you good at? Where do you stand with others and how they view you for that thing? Have you even put it out there in the universe? I want you to be a millionaire. I want you to be super wealthy. But I think it stems from like, how am I going to help others to gain that wealth? You know? And how can I do something else in my life that will help me be more fulfilled? You start with, how can I help others? Because once you start developing yourself, thinking about others, thinking about how you can help change the world, be more positive in the world, and become more selfless, it gets easier to act for yourself and to be a better version of yourself, because then you truly want to influence and be inspiring and set the example and set the tone and just be change, and mirror that. And I believe so many people have an opportunity here to do that. And they already are making a difference usually. You probably already are a great friend. You probably already are a great kid, a great husband, a great wife, a great leader. You probably already are all that. But is that enough for you? Or is there more out there for you? And where does that stem from? And how can you help those you want to help? Think about it. Also, think about athletes. And I put this in an analogy here, but they're often able to come back strong after an injury. And it's not because their bodies recovered a different type of way than the other person that had the same injury that didn't end up doing as well. It's just as much about the mental strength and the mental toughness, the mental agility that they've adopted and how they adapted to the situation there. Think about it. You could come back as an injured player, fully recover, fully healed, but then go out there and not be able to perform because you're thinking about all the negative things that happened in the past, how much it hurt, and you let that set you back from running that route or going full speed or going as hard as you used to because you're scared of that injury, and it's the mental toughness that's lacking. Same thing here. If you want something to happen, you have to be able to be mentally tough, mentally strong, mentally focused, because that's where you're going to be challenged the most. The physical stuff happens too, and that's hard, but just think about it from a athletic analogy. Like, it's twofold. They recover from their injury. Now it's time to go back out there and do the same as before and still be highly skilled. You can't be scared of taking that hit. If it's football, you can't be scared of running that route over the middle or doing the same thing you did before to have that injury, because, hey, if it comes, it's meant to be. You chose your path. You chose this, so it's going to be hard. But if you realize you were meant to do that thing, then the tough stuff gets easier. And you realize you're becoming mentally strong because you're focused on your goals, on your mission, on what it's doing for you to get back to the best version of yourself, or be the best version of yourself, or to make that comeback to inspire others and lead change and do that for yourself because you earned that. It's one of those things that we take for granted so much, that we've already done so much in our past. We've already been hurt so many times. We've already had so many negative things happen in our lives. We've already got through that. Why do we still let it stick with us? Why do we let it just linger there? We need to accept it, use it, have it as fuel, have it to help the next person, have it to help others around us, have it to help fuel your desire for your performance, for your future, for your passion, for that purpose you have. Use the stuff from your past that was painful, that lingers there with you, to help yourself, help others, because it's there. You've already came through the fire, made it through there unscathed. You might have a couple little scars here and there, but you're here. You're here. You're able to listen to this today. You're able to make a difference today. You're able to be there for that person today. You're able to reconnect with that person that you just need to reconnect with because it's a good soul or somebody you're rooting for or somebody from your past that did something to you or somebody you have to forgive, and whatever it is, help it move you forward. Because today is where you can take action, where you can start to drive performance, drive your future towards your goals, towards your vision, towards the things. Don't let the past hold you back. We all come to a point where we're like, dang, I should have done this 5 years ago. I should have done that 10 years ago. What if I did this? Well, no. You made it through all the things you already made it through. You're where you're at for a reason. Let's use everything we've learned, everything we've been about to help us get to the next best thing in our life. That is my vision. And that is what I'm here to help others do. I'm here to help myself do. I'm speaking this out loud because I want to be that inspiration for others that know there's something more for them out there, because I do believe you are set up on this journey to make a difference, to make an impact, and that you have so much more value than you think because of your experiences, because of the things you went through, and you just need to share that with the world. You need to share that with somebody around you. You need to share that with somebody in the office. You need to share that with a parent, family member, sister, brother, somebody that might not know it about you yet. You've been through it. You made it through there. You've been able to get through it and be where you're at now. And you're successful in so many ways because of that, because there's been so many things that happen in your life, so many things you couldn't control, or so many bad decisions you might have made that led you to that circumstance or that event that sucked, but you got through it and now you're here. Or maybe it's something recent and you got to figure out how to get over it. Well, hey, what is it doing for me? What am I learning from it? How am I going to have this help me be more mentally stronger, mentally tough in the future, so I'm able to help myself more when this time comes, or it shows its eyes again, or it shows up again. When it happens again, I'll be ready for it because I've already been through it. That's a challenge I have for you, and I know that it will help if you use that perspective. So adaptation is definitely key. Understand that you've been through so much and that you'll still continue to go through a lot, and that it's okay and you're learning from every experience. And sometimes we focus too much on what didn't go our way rather than focus on the controllables, right? We have to learn to instinctively trust ourselves more and more over time. That awareness comes from being okay to be alone with your thoughts and thinking about where they stem from. Usually that thought you're having, that quick trigger emotion that has you going to that negative place or that negative thought about that person, it might be from something you've already experienced and you're associating it with that, and it's not the same thing even though you interpret it the same way. Think about that. Some of those things happening to you right now, you are quick to judge it instead of use it to help you. Maybe it's a challenge from above telling you, hey, here it is again. It's similar. It's different, but it's similar. Let's see if you get through it this time. I've challenged you once before. Can you get through it this time? Is this the time that you're going to make the change for yourself and be a better version of yourself in this scenario, for this thing, for this moment? Could be happening to you right now. Could be something that you realize happened in your past. Man, just think about that for a minute. But we do have to learn to instinctively trust ourselves. Trust yourself. And how you do that is to live in gratitude, Understand and evaluate from time to time. Think about these thoughts and where they're stemming from and what they're coming from. Learn to trust yourself that you'll make the right decisions moving forward. And even with making the correct decisions, you'll sometimes fail or sometimes go backward. But it's okay because you're strong enough to get back up ahead, to move forward even to a higher place than you were before. Might need to take 2 steps back to get 4 steps forward. And that's okay because you're working on yourself, you're growing, you're learning, you're using each experience as a new case, something to help propel you forward, something to build momentum, something to gain energy with, and something to be great from. Something that you can use to help others or even help yourself for the future events that have yet occurred. And also, awareness, being self-aware. It's easy to do when you're reflecting, right? But when you're in that moment and you're in those emotions, how aware are you? Are you reacting? Are you being aware of, oh, that's a trigger? That's my trigger point. I blew up on that one. Whoops. I reacted too quick there. Yeah, it's easy to go back and think about that. So the more aware we can become, the more we can take a step back even for a second in that moment to learn and grow through it and from it and understand where we're at with it and just make sure that we're coming with the right approach and we don't mess up, a couple things in our future because of one stupid moment because we wanted to react and blow up in that moment. Maybe we should have just listened to ourselves for a minute, take a step back so we can get multiple steps forward, right? Instead of just be like, oh, step. Sometimes it might be a rock right there. I might twist my ankle. Let me scope it out real quick, right? So make sure you're thinking about the things as they're happening as well because you want to get your awareness level up. That way you can help others and perform even better in the future and be more accustomed to adapting to change and the things coming at you quickly and the negative circumstances and all that because they're going to happen. You just have to face it. You have to deal with it. You have to know that, are you putting yourself in that position? Are you causing the reactions to take place? Did you do something, or is it something you need to cut out of your life to help you move forward? You really have to think about that. It's how you respond to these things, how you respond to the failures, how you're growing from it, because they are going to happen, right? And then also, it's what you're made of. Those challenges that come up, they're telling you and asking you, hey, I'm here again. I want to see what you're made of this time. I want to see if you improved any. And hey, if you fail again, hey, it's okay. Sometimes you got to fail 5 times and it's that 6th time where now you're a pro. Now you know, okay, I'm good. I got this now. Man, that makes me think of what did Michael Jordan say? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, something like that. Like, eventually one's going to go in. Eventually you're going to score that bucket. So just keep trying, keep getting after it, keep learning, keep growing. What are you made of? You will be challenged. And how did you get here? You've been able to achieve so much, grow so much, do so much. And that isn't over with. You're still going to have these tough times, these occurrences, these wins, these losses, these things that come and go. You're still going to have that for eternity, right? So how are you making choices today to help make your future better and brighter? Simple as that. And you're still developing, still going strong, still learning, still having new experiences. So seize the freaking day. Live within the day, live within the moment, live in abundance, be joyous, great attitude, understand there's a lot to be grateful for. So much around us that's free that you can be thankful for. And sometimes we feel like we're so far away from our goal or so off course when actually it's 2 steps to get on the path to get there, or 1 step even to get on the path to get there. I remember sitting with my boss at my previous job, another manager coaching me, going over goals with me, goal setting, fun stuff. And he's like, what do you plan to make next year? I was like, and this much, and it was a lot. I thought, he's like, nah, go higher. I'm like, nah, I think that's fair. That'll be the most money I ever made. He's like, nah, go higher. All right, put it down. Put down another goal of, hey, what are some of those things you want? I was like, I don't know. It'd be nice to have this, something nice, like a nice car or something. He's like, nah, think bigger. I was like, all right, well, what about getting a house? He's like, yeah, that's it. So my manager was like, okay, challenging me on my dang goals. And I was like, is it because he believes in me, or is he just saying like he wants me to work harder? Come to find out, I hit those goals. I bought the new house. I made the money that I never thought I would make. And, it was not his belief in me. It was me going after a goal by just writing it down, speaking it out loud, actually discussing it and talking about it that led me there. So how did you get here? It's crazy to think about, but it just goes to show that, if you have a vision, you have a purpose, you have something that drives you, oftentimes it does take support, but the main support comes from yourself and from within. But if you really put your mind to it, that's the first step. Put it down in your mind, and then the rest will follow. That vision's there. Have you spoke to yourself lately on that vision, on those goals? Have you just said it in passing, or have you actually thought it through? Have you actually talked about it with your manager, or with your loved one, or with those around you at all? And maybe it is just that one person you speak to about it. Maybe it's more. I would encourage you to speak to more people about your goals, your vision, your future, where you see yourself in 5 years, 2 years, what kind of things you want or getting or going to have. You put it out there in the universe, great things unfold in your favor because you are truly highly favored and blessed. You are blessed and highly favored. Think about that. You're here. You can be whatever you want to be. Starts with the mindset, the thoughts, the vision, the goals, the purpose, the energy, the choices, the actions, the behaviors, the beliefs, who you're becoming, and what you're meant to do, and what you set out to do. What does the future hold in store for you? That's a question you got to ask yourself, because I truly believe you can change whenever. And also, with that, I know we feel far away from our goals or where we're meant to be sometimes, but you're actually so close. You're actually so close to being that image of yourself that you had 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You're so much closer to that future self you envision yourself to be than you think. You're so much closer to being that. So manifest your destiny. Manifest it. Speak it out loud. Say it to the person you love. Say it to the friends that you have. Say it to those naysayers. Put it out there on your social media. Put it out there to the world. Put it out there on the podcast. Come on this podcast and put it out there. Manifest destiny. Manifest your own destiny. And that can be so great. You just haven't lived in that emotion of feeling what it's going to be like when you're there yet. I remember when we were talking about getting the house, getting the money. You know what the next question he has for me at that time? And, I already didn't believe in the goal anyways, but I was like, all right, let me try to help myself believe. And he was like trying to help me believe in it too. So he was like, all right, now close your eyes. Envision what it feels like when you have it, when you've completed it, when you've done it, when you got to that point, envision what it feels like. Woo-wee! Did that change things? Manifest. Woo! That thing is so real. So many successful people that I listen to on podcasts or social media or speakers or what have you, people on TV, whatever. I talk about how they manifested these things when they were young or, middle-aged or at some point in their life, and they just stuck with it. And next thing you know, it's like all in their grasp. It's actually right there, and they're living it now. So guess what? You got new goals, a new mission, a new thing. Man, blessed and highly favored. You think about it. We all have a chance to achieve the same greatness. What's stopping us? Man, it's not much. It's usually just ourselves stopping us. Always going to be naysayers. But all you have is all you need, right? It's all you have, your tools, your body, your mind, your emotions, who you are, where you're at when you're with yourself, what you have around you in spirit. All you have is all you need. That's the first thing you need to do anything. And you're here walking this earth, might as well make the most of it, right? You're going to need a vision before you win. So now that you've accepted, hey, I'm here, let's get that vision right. Get that vision right, we win. You see it, you visualize it, you feel it then. And if you can see it, you can have it. Think about it. Elon Musk out here putting, cities on Mars or the moon or wherever he plans to put them. 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago, that was just sci-fi. That was all just in a sci-fi movie, not ever possible. But, hey, somebody saw it. Maybe he watched too much sci-fi and he's like, hey, I'm going to be the man to do it. But of course he's brilliant, but he's thinking big because he knows where he's at. He knows what he can do or have an influence on. And I hate to go to the big version of things and changing humanity and all that, but think about it on a small scale of what kind of difference you can make and impact you can make. What does that vision look like? Where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself being much healthier or a much better body? Because think about it. If you change and mold your body into the vision that you pictured it to be in, think about how many people you're going to inspire just because you made the change and you did it for yourself. But then people are going to come up to you and be like, holy cow, you look great. That's awesome. What did you do? And they'll be asking you for advice. And you'll be making a difference because then they'll see it and they'll be like, dang, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And just those simple things, you're leading by example because you had a vision for yourself and you wanted to change. You don't know how many people you're going to impact through that change, through the course of it all, through just the small changes that happen on your way to the bigger change. You're going to impact and affect so many lives positively because of that. And think about it. There's courage. There's faith. You got to dig deep much of the time. But take charge of your life and reshape your future. Find yourself where you're at. Know where you're going to be. Envision it. Know that you can reshape your future right now. Just by thoughts, choices, actions, beliefs, behaviors. You can do it right now. You can start right now on that. It's pretty awesome to feel, right? Of course, there's times people won't believe in you, but that's okay because all you need is to see it, believe it, and then act on it. During the process, people are going to doubt you, count you out, think you're silly, think you're stupid, think you're not cut out for it. But I can tell you, if you start today, 90 days later, you're sticking with it, and you look back from the day that you made the choice that you're going to change, you're going to be tenfold a much better version. So think about that on a scale of a year, 2 years, oh man, you're way above them naysayers now. You're way above those people that hated on you during the process, or that counted you out, or didn't believe in you, or didn't pay for your program, or didn't buy your product, or didn't root for you. Hey, they coming at you now. People you don't even know going to be rooting for you now, because you saw a vision for yourself, and they see that belief and they see that energy, and they want it. They want it in their life. They want to surround themselves with it. They want to be a part of that. So you can make a difference. You can make a change. As selfish as it may be sometimes, you're going to be an inspiration to others, because you started with a vision. It was selfless acts. It was things you did, yes, for yourself, but how you're going to help others along the way as well. What drives you? What's your motivation? What's your driver? You're sitting in the driver's seat of that choice, that decision, the next steps you can make. Consistency. Every person I know that's made it somewhere has mentioned consistency. That's a scary word sometimes, right? Consistent. Dang. We can't be on point every day, can we? Nah, you can't, but you can take action every day. You can make thoughts every day. That's a guarantee. So therefore, yeah, you can make a difference. Sometimes some days going to suck, or some points of the day, if maybe each day going to suck, yeah, but you're being consistent. You're creating change. You're creating a wave of momentum for yourself that leads to a momentum and trajectory of changing the world, and the scope of things, and your perspective, and what you're capable of, and how you're going to lead others in the future, and how you're going to inspire others, and how they're going to aspire to be like you. And then next thing you know, you're building something and you don't even realize it, because you're so caught up in your mission of being a better version of yourself. So, hey, if it's selfish and it leads to selfless, that's fine too. Just know that you're doing it for a reason, and doing it because it's for the greater good. And I believe that we all have something of purpose here, some way we can change the trajectory for not only ourselves but for others, and be there for them and care for them, and just know that you can help them get through their tough times, or help them excel, or help them become their best version of themselves. Like, it starts with you doing the same thing, doing that first, so you can lead others into that. And you're not going to be at the level you want to be right away, and that's fine. You're still going to have people a lot less fortunate than you. They're going to look up to you in the beginning stages, and then once you excel even higher, you took it to the next level. You're on another path. The journey is just started, and it's getting better and better year over year. You just got to start, man. And think about it. If man can conquer his mindset, if a man can master discipline, then there's nothing he can't win. Conquer the mindset, conquer discipline, you win. We are most creative in the midst of adversity. So when adversity hits, it stings, it sticks with you. But hey, that's when we're growing. That's when we're like, ooh, shaky. Like, I got to be in it now. I got to recover. I got to think on my feet. I got to be quick. And you're actually just learning so much, because it's moving you so much emotionally. That adversity, it's like, shoot, I don't want to get here again. But if I do, I'm prepared, because now I'm going to live in this moment and realize that there's so much I can do or learn from it, that, hey, I'm ready for it now. Boom, let's go. How can I take this and run with it? So overcome fear. You have to use it. It helps you grow, helps you stretch. Use the fear to maybe lean in towards, like if people have a fear of speaking, or fear of putting themselves out there, or fear of whatever the case may be, because of, past beliefs about themselves, or what they believe others believe about them, or whatever the case may be. Like, lean more into that fear. Conquer it, and, start with something small. Then it grows. And you realize that, like, it's nothing I should have been too fearful of in the first place from the jump. But hey, I conquered this. Now I know I can do much more. And then it's the next thing that you're conquering, the next thing that you're conquering. So keep growing, keep stretching, and Remember your why. So I'm going to finish with this. Your why. You have those strong reasons. They're going to move you forward. The thoughts, actions, beliefs, behaviors, choices, influences, what you're surrounding yourself with, etc. If you keep that why in front of you, you keep that mission statement in front of you, that vision in front of you, that purpose in front of you, the passion within you. If you keep the why in front of you, great things are going to happen. Yeah, it might feel like pressure on yourself, but use it as positive fuel. Benefits of knowing where you're supposed to be. That it's not going to be easy. Accept that from the jump. Know that your why is much greater and much stronger for you to be able to live and to move forward and to find fulfillment. Your why is how you get there. Like, once you know that, then you can make the other challenges a lot easier for yourself. Then you realize, like, hey, I'm on a mission. I have this purpose here to change lives. Now I can go about it freely and accept my fate because I'm putting one foot in front of the other and knowing that I'm here to conquer the world, conquer this thing, and overcome the objections, overcome the fears, overcome so I can get closer to those goals, to those aspirations, to those things that I'm supposed to be here for. Remember your why. Why are you doing it? Those reasons have to be so strong. So it is the why that gets us the win. And it's the why that gives us the power to preserve through the how. So stop looking for the addition. Stop looking for the validation. Stop looking for everyone to agree. It's your life, your world, your thoughts, your why, your purpose. It's yours. And if you lose things along the way, but you're becoming a better version of yourself, or you're getting closer to that goal, or you're getting closer to what you set out for, and you lose people along the way, or you lose things along the way, or the struggles become more and more along the way, but you still keep that why in front of you, the purpose, that faith in yourself, that belief that you can help others and make an impact. If you carry that with you, that's going to get you through those tough times. That's going to make you realize that, like, those people weren't meant to be on this ride with me. That's fine. You know, it's going to help you realize that, like, you had chains holding you down. That, like, I'm glad they got off my back. I'm glad because I'm on a mission. I'm driving forward. You know, if you don't hear from me in a year, it's because I'm on a mission. I know my purpose. I know what I'm doing here. I'm sorry if that rubs you the wrong way, but here it is. I'm going to lay it out for you. I'm speaking it out loud. I'm letting you know. So stop looking for people to agree with that. It's your life, your world, your ability to change the world lies within you changing yourself and being on that mission towards your goal, towards the glory, towards the finish line, towards the thing you were set out to do. What are your reasons? Are you doing it for family? Are you doing it to become a better version of yourself? Are you doing it to help others? Are you doing it to make an impact? Are you doing it for your charity? Are you doing it for faith? Are you doing it for God? Are you doing it for these things that are around you? Are you doing it because you want to make sure you're top echelon at what you're doing? Are you doing it for all these reasons? Like, do you want to be the best? Do you want to be great? Do you want to make an impact? Do you want to change lives? Do you want to change your life? Or do you want to stay where you're at? Are your reasons strong enough to move you to make a decision, to make a choice today to change? You know, you might have to cut stuff out and replace it. It's all good. Your why is going to drive you towards that thing. Once you understand the why, once you surround yourself with the why, and you get these strong reasons and that ultimate faith within yourself, you start to make those actions, and everything else is going to follow in line because you're putting the effort forward and you're being consistent. Then your whole world's going to change because you started small to go big. Start small to go big. You have something else you're meant here to do, and that is the purpose. That is why. What is it? What's happening in your life that is going to help change and inspire others and change lives and make futures better, brighter, or change your energy? Maybe you want better energy in your life, so maybe you have to give more energy, better energy to receive that. You have to give to receive. So what is it? What is it that you're going to do? What is it that you're going to change? What is it that you're going to think about and consume yourself with so you're on that mission to conquer what you set out to do? What is your why? What happened in your life that you're going to use as fuel to help move you forward? All right, y'all, this was a good one. Make sure you follow me on all the different social media pages. I got the Facebook, the Instagram, the TikTok, even Snapchat. I don't mess with too much, but have that. Usually just posting like nature pics and silly stuff. But yeah, just follow me on Instagram, YouTube, either the Mind Growth Mission or David.Schweit or Schweit David or David Schweit. And I just love y'all, and I'm rooting for you, and I know you're going to do great things. Make sure you hit me up, message me, comment, share, like, subscribe. Please subscribe to the page, the Mind Growth Mission on YouTube. Trying to grow that audience and partner with some people that are doing some great things in the personal development space, the faith space, the influencer space, etc. So got some big plans ahead. I want y'all to be a part of it. Please help me get there. And thank you for following. Thank you for listening. And keep grinding, y'all.
I've been chasing all these dreams, I'm getting very close. Your work shouldn't feel like work if you really love it. If you set and you know your worth, then think if it's worth it. But I do count my blessings first, so you know I'm grateful every night. But watch me, baby, I'ma take it there. Tell ya I'ma stay the path. Tell ya I've been chasing all these dreams, I'm getting very close. Here we go.